Okay, welcome to my first booktube video. I'm going to just start off by saying that I have never filmed myself talking about books before, and so if it is extremely awkward and just not well done, hang with me because we'll get there. But anyway, I was just holding this stack of books because I was going to talk about all of my book list or bucket list books that I want to read, aka all of the books that I swear are on the top of my TBR list and I just still have not gotten to them. So we've got 8 of them total, so a pretty good stack, and I'm just gonna go through them. Basically, I haven't read them because there's 2 reasons. 1, they either intimidate me, or 2, they're classics, which both of those categories kind of overlap, because if a book is a classic, it intimidates me because I feel like I'm not going to understand it. And I know it sounds silly because I think some of them really are accessible for readers, but I'm always kind of scared to try, which I know is not good. I'm really going to try in 2022 to pick up more classics, and they're classics for a reason, I feel like. So that probably means they're good, right? Or they have lessons to be learned. I don't know. But anyway, we'll jump in. I'm going to start with a classic, speaking of, and this is of course Jane Austen's Emma. First of all, the cover is absolutely beautiful. Oh my god, I love that. I think it's so pretty. I think the colors, everything about it, but there's more to this book than that, obviously. But I know Clueless is based, I guess, roughly on this novel. From what I know, which is not a ton about it, I'll be honest, but I believe it's just about Emma, and she's like a young girl and tries to play matchmaker, and I believe it goes awry at times. So I think it's supposed to be kind of humorous, especially for the time period that it was written in. I think that Jane Austen is known for being clever in this book, so I'm excited about that. Another classic, which is not as pretty, but what are you gonna do when you find it for 99 cents at Goodwill? You can't complain. So this is Emily Bronte's Wuthering Heights. Again, I should do more research before I start this, but I don't know entirely what this is about, other than the fact that I've heard it's extremely depressing. I've heard that nothing happens in it that's happy or positive, which I'm here for that. I think that's a good fall vibe anyway, a fall winter vibe, I don't know. And also I've heard that it is very gothic, which I adore. And again, I think that's more of a fall book. So I think this one we're gonna hold off on until the fall of 2022, but I will get there. It also kind of scares me because it's not that it's that long, but the font is so small. I don't know. Does that get anybody else? If I open a book and it has small font, I'm put that down. So we'll get there. I'll just talk about all the classes because this is actually the last one I have. So yeah, I might as well just go through them all. But this is John Steinbeck's East of Eden, and I believe this is just about 2 families going through a couple generations. So I think it's very character driven. I'm more of a plot driven book reader, but people really seem to adore this book, so I'm willing to give it a try. And I just said that, and I'm pretty sure that the other 2 books, Wuthering Heights and Emma, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that they're both very character driven, so maybe all of these won't be for me strictly because of that, but I don't know. It's worth a shot. So I don't know a lot about this, except I was just reading the back, and I like the themes. It's about identity, love, and the murderous consequences of love's absence. So we'll see about that. But I've never really heard a bad thing about East of Eden before, so I'm kind of excited about it. And then moving on to the more modern literary fiction type books, which arguably people say that some of these I feel on the list are going to be modern classics. So anyway, I'm gonna start by talking about the only colorful one I have in this stack actually, but it is The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett, and this has been everywhere. I feel I might quite possibly be the last person to read this book. There's not a good reason I haven't picked it up. It's not long, it's not intimidating. I don't know if I just feel there's a lot of hype surrounding it, and I'm scared that it's gonna ruin it for me, not live up to my expectations. I'm not sure, but the cover's beautiful. Again, love that. And I think everybody knows by now, but it is about two sisters, and one passes for white while the other passes for being black. And I think it's just about their differences in growing up that way, or living their lives that way with those differences, and you know, how privileges are different between white people and black people. And then I think also though, like one of the main points of the plot is that I think that they haven't been talking, like these twins haven't been talking, but then their daughters meet each other. So I don't know, sounds interesting. It always has good reviews. So we'll give this a go. I should do this soon because there's no reason that I haven't read this yet. So move that to the top of the list. Okay, next up, we will talk about maybe also the most depressing book besides Wuthering Heights is A Little Life. I'm gonna butcher the name, but by Hanya Yanagihara. I know that's wrong, but everybody knows this book by now. So Little Life. People usually say they have to take a break from reading this, which is pretty much why I haven't picked it up yet. I'm like, this is maybe the most depressing book I'll ever read. So I feel like you just have to wait for the right time for that. But also I separate my books into seasons. If you can't tell, I feel like there's a certain time for every book to be read. This one does not scream summer. Like this is pure January or February. Like not December, because that's holiday. And this is not a holiday read. But January and February is like the cold, depressing months. And that is when I feel like you need to read this. But it's also freaking chunky. If you like a floppy book, this one's for you. I didn't say what it's about, but I think you guys probably know. It's about like a group of college friends, I believe, that it's basically just their stories as they're going through life, and very sad things happen to them. So moving on. We have If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. I've heard nothing but good things about this book. Like, I don't think I've ever heard anyone say that they don't like this book. And I think that's why I don't want to pick it up, because again, I have like high expectations for it, and it lives in my mind as, oh my God, I'm gonna love this book. And if I don't, it's just gonna be a sad day. So I haven't picked this up, but it's about a group of, again, college students. Yeah. And it's about a murder that occurs, but it's from the point of view of somebody that had gone to jail for the murder, wrongly gone to jail for the murder. So I think that makes it a little bit unique. I'm excited about this. Very dark academia vibes. It could pass as a winter read, but I feel like this also is like a very much school, back to school, fall vibe. We'll see, but I'm excited because I think I'm gonna love it. And then very, very similar to that, I feel like if you like that book, you're gonna like this book and vice versa, but this is The Secret History by Donna Tartt. And this, I feel like people, when they talk about it, they don't give you a lot of description because you can't give too much away without spoiling it. Like you can't talk about it too much because I feel like it spoils it very easily. So, you know, I think it's about a murder that happens on a campus. And I think a professor is highly involved in it. So that is A Secret History. I've heard that it can be very, very slow in the beginning. And that tends to drive me away from books. So that's why I haven't picked this one up yet. But then people say it's so worth it by the time you reach the end. So this one also kind of chunky, but I'm gonna do it. And then last on the list, if you've made it this far, it is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. I still have never read anything by V.E. Schwab, but that's because she mostly writes fantasy, which I know that this is pretty much fantasy, but I feel like it's not so heavy on like the magic and dragons, and I know that sounds really ignorant, but I don't think it's so much about that. I think it's more just the fact that it's classified as fantasy because the main character, Addie LaRue, in this book makes a deal with like the devil, you could call it, to live forever. However, the catch is that nobody's going to remember her, so she lives all throughout these spans of hundreds of years, and that's what the story, I believe, follows, until one day she meets somebody and this man happens to recognize her and remember her. So it obviously throws her completely off guard. But this is another book, just like The Secret History, that people say it like takes a while to get into, and that's why I won't pick it up because, well, for one, I need to reach my Goodreads goal for this year, and if I pick this up, I'm not finishing it this month. But also, I don't have a lot of self-control. So if I get bored in the beginning of the book, I don't always follow through, even though people say the ending makes it worth it. So I think I need to like maybe read another book while I'm reading this book to help me kind of out of that slump. But I really do want to know, you know, why people adore this so much. I want to feel the same. So we're gonna get there. But that is it. That is all 8 books that I claim I'm gonna read soon. Probably a year will go by and I still haven't picked any of them up, but it's a journey, so that's okay. If you stuck around this long, thank you. You made it through my first awkward booktube video, but I plan on doing more. Now that I put myself out there, I uploaded my first one. There's gonna be more to come and I'm excited about it. So thank you for sticking around and I will see you next time. Bye.